Hello everyone, my name is Tuomas Lahtinen. I'm the Deputy CEO of WEOPTIT. We are a small 15 people company specialized in machine learning and optimization, part of Visma Consulting Finland since 2018. What our company does in a nutshell is optimization and machine learning based solutions for recurring and high stakes problems, and of course recurring high stakes problems as well. Some of our customers are Fazer, the Finnish chocolate producer, Kone, the elevator company, and the Finnish railways. And other than that, several big Finnish companies and also some European and actually some Chinese companies as well. In optimization, we have gained quite big benefits in several projects that we have run. Some that are now like in production, they have been deployed to production, and some that have been gained in proof of concept projects are still on the way to production. And this kind of percentage improvements are very valuable because it's reducing the operational costs and it directly translates to bottom line. And this is what you can get using modern optimization and machine learning solutions. Today, I'm talking especially about the use of the operations research, optimization, and machine learning in resource management. In a simple way, it's simple to state the resource management problem. It's planning and allocation to ensure that the right amount of the right kinds of resources are in the right place at the right time. It's simple to say that, but more difficult to do in practice. Perhaps if you have only a couple of resources, you can manage them to perform effectively. But then, if there's even tens or hundreds or thousands of people working or vehicles that you need to operate, then ensuring that all of these conditions are fulfilled can be extremely difficult. And also in such large scale, even small improvements create large financial benefits. And actually, machine learning and optimization can help a lot in these resource management problems. For instance, if you need to have the right amount of resources in the right place, so what's the right amount? It requires you to, when you're planning for the future, you need to make a good guess of what's the right amount in the future. So that's a prediction problem. And machine learning and statistical techniques are excellent for helping make better predictions. Then when you have different types of resources that need to perform different kind of tasks, there are many possible combinations how you can match your resources and the demand for resources. And so it becomes a combinatorial problem that can be, even for the greatest mathematicians, it can be so difficult. So think about some human planner allocating the resources. It's not going to be optimal, but it can be improved using technology. And then the sentence, in the right place. So if the workforce needs to move within a day, it becomes partially a route optimization problem, how to plan the routes as well as the work shifts of, say, car drivers. And then having the resources in the right place at the right time, that's a scheduling problem. And all of these are kind of classical optimization problems that have been studied a lot. One example to illustrate, this is a simple illustration. It's the rostering puzzle. We have a set of resources, labor. Each box represents one person working in your company, and the length of the box tells how long shifts this person does. Then the colors indicate the skills that this person has. So you have a list of resources with different kind of, they do different kind of work shifts and they have different kind of skills. Then you have some tasks that you need to perform in order to produce your services or products. And then the problem is to match these two. So to make a roster for the labor, like when each person is going to have their work shift, so with that roster, your which is displayed here, with that roster, your supply of resources covers all the demand for resources coming from the tasks that you need to perform. So here it may seem simple, but it's just an illustration. In reality, there can be hundreds of people working. For instance, we did for the Finnish Railways this kind of rostering optimization tool for the locomotive drivers. So in that kind of problem, you need to, besides matching the supply and demand of resources, you need to ensure that all the laws and regulations are fulfilled. You need to take into account the personal preferences and then also try to produce rosters that are ergonomic and fair. All of that amounts to a very difficult problem, but luckily it's something that can be kind of presented in a logical format. It's actually a mathematical problem once you have gone through the effort to list down all the specifications for that kind of optimization problem. So the benefits of using optimization to produce rosters, what we have observed is that you can increase the quality of the rosters. They become more ergonomic, which increases well-being and productivity. You need to, when you have a computer going through all the possible ways you can build the roster, you can create it more effective, to be more efficient, and then you need to pay less salaries from overtime compensations and use less flexible resources to kind of fill in the holes in your roster. Automating this kind of processes, of course, saves you time and effort. And when you have a computer tool for producing rosters, then you can run different kind of scenario analysis. What if we have this demand scenario for the future and this set of resources? Can we do all the work with this set of resources? Okay, the answer can be no. So then you can ask the computer, how many more people should we hire in order to match the supply and demand? Then prediction problems occur in both the demand and supply side of resource management. For instance, you can predict sales success, how many orders are you going to have, and then having a higher accuracy in your predictions, of course, brings you a more firm basis to prepare for the future. And in many companies, what we have seen is people are doing these things in Excel, and it's rather manual process, so it also takes a lot of time. So bringing in these modern techniques, you can save time in producing predictions that are of the same or higher quality than what was before. Then some examples of cases that we have worked with at WEOPTIT. First is rostering for care homes. So this client of ours, they are quite big care company. It's a very labor-intensive business, so they have thousands of staff doing the work. And of course, it's labor-intensive because it's people doing services for people, helping other people. So it's labor-intensive. And so this company has to produce thousands of rosters annually to make for every 3-week period for every care home that they own, they need to produce a roster. And building one roster takes about 3 days of time. And the people who are building those rosters are healthcare professionals themselves, not combinatorial optimization specialists. So it's even difficult for them to create rosters that satisfy all the legal requirements. And then there comes the different kind of soft constraints. You would like to do the roster as equal as possible, as well adjusted to the employee preferences as possible, and also then cost effective. Simply put, the rosters could be better, and they could be produced much faster. This is what it looks like, the roster that our program now produces for them. I don't go through the details, but this is in principle kind of Gantt chart. Every box here represents a work shift, and here you can see some summary diagrams on the bottom. And in this case, we could produce cost-efficient, high-quality rosters in less than an hour, whereas it previously took several days to produce one roster that was not of as high quality. Then another case that we have solved, this was for a multi-billion-dollar car manufacturing company. So when a car is assembled, a set of electrical tests needs to be performed on the car to test that different things work, different kind of electrical things work correctly. And there are about 500 tests that need to be performed per car. And what's difficult in this puzzle is that there are complex interdependencies between the different tests, like some tests that you cannot run in parallel, some tests that you need to perform before some other tests. Some tests require the ignition to be on, some require it to be off. It's a very complex assignment. And we were hired to challenge the internal team of this company. Here is an illustrative example. Assume these boxes represent the tests, and the length of the box is how long does the test take. And then we have some rules. Test A needs to be before B, at most 4 tests at the same time. There are 5 rules in this case. And this is an optimization problem to make a schedule for these tests that follows all these rules, and the total duration of the schedule is as small as possible. And we devised our own algorithm for this case and found a very good solution. And here is a good solution for this illustrative problem. The results were something like this. They had an old process to create the schedules. I don't know exactly how it works, but it took, for some models, like 800 seconds to perform the whole testing. Then the client's internal algorithm found a schedule for this product 1, which took 350 seconds, and our solution was 240 seconds. And now this has been a proof of concept, and it's in the kind of candidate project for the next year's project portfolio of this company. And if this result is scaled to their car production, then it would save about 75,000 hours of process time every year. Then one case related to prediction and machine learning. In this case, we are predicting whether tender competitions are won or lost. So this business participates in tender competitions to win projects. And the projects are rather homogeneous. Over the years, a lot of data has accumulated in their CRM system about the tender competitions that they participated in. So for each tender competition, they have a set of attributes describing what kind of proposal they submitted, what kind of case it was, and then, of course, what was the price tag that they used, and whether they won or lost the tender competition. And then our goal was to build a machine learning model to predict for a given tender, whether it's going to be victorious or not. And this kind of prediction has several benefits. First of all, it helps in planning resources. So if you know for the future more accurately how many projects you're likely to win, then you can adjust your resources accordingly. And then, of course, also purchasing can be planned with higher confidence. You need to purchase some material for those projects. And then what we got also in this project was an estimate of the relationship between price tag and win rate, which is kind of the price elasticity of their demand, which helps them to look at their pricing, whether it's near optimal or not. Of course, this kind of causality statements are difficult to infer using just statistical techniques. So this is something that needs to be validated with real experiments. So basically they had the records. We had the records coming from their CRM system. Then we also combined external data sources on top of their data, and then all this information feeds into a machine learning model, which was trained to predict whether the projects are wins or losses. And then here is one example figure. This shows for a specific type of tender whether or how does the win rate depend on the margin percentage used in the tender. So margin percentage refers to the share of the price that is margin. So this is the kind of curve that represents the price elasticity, and thus can be used to adjust the pricing and explore whether the pricing is good or not. And what we got here was 75% accuracy in prediction, and the baseline in the data was that it's 50-50 project tender competitions are won or lost, and we could predict with 75% accuracy, and they were really satisfied with that. Of course, it can sometimes be that there can be some people problems or overhype before the project. Like one example in this case was when we were kind of pitching this idea to the client, one senior manager from them was like, okay, and you will get us 95% right. So then I had to say, sorry, I cannot guarantee that. So in this kind of projects, when you're applying a new machine learning solution to predict something, you don't know, you cannot guarantee before how great accuracy you're going to get. In the end, 75 was something that they were really satisfied with, and something that they couldn't produce themselves or didn't have time to look at it so deeply as we could. Okay, conclusion. What I've seen and what we've seen at WEOPTIT is that modern optimization and machine learning solutions can create significant value in business development. Then I encourage you to explore the full potential of your data with optimization and machine learning pilots. Most of the pilots end up in two of possible outcomes. One outcome is that the pilot is successful, and then you have a clear case for business development, deploy that solution, and so forth. Another possible outcome, which is probably as common as the first one, is that there's some deficiency in either data quality or there's some missing data. And that's a very valuable outcome from a project as well, because that gives a concrete input into your data and AI strategy. So it's easy to collect data, like let's collect this and that, but it's more difficult to know what data specifically you should collect. So if you really do some test project where you have pilot project where you have a clear use case, how you are going to use the data, then you're gonna stress test your data quality at the moment. And then you can go forward, improve your data, and the next project will be successful. And WEOPTIT, we were founded in 2013. We are a bunch of doctors and mathematicians. We have been doing very beautiful mathematics today. Together with Visma Consulting, we can offer very high quality solutions that are look beautiful and work brilliantly under the hood, behind the hood. Okay, that's it. Thank you.